So today we're going to replace a thermostat housing, and it's pretty hard to tell from here, but once I start removing the battery, the air filter box, you get to see a really good view of the housing that's connected to the engine is leaking. And so it's down there in the bottom, and this is the whole housing here that we're going to replace. So we're going to start off by draining the coolant. And so once you go ahead and remove the cap from the reservoir, go ahead and take out the radiator cap. And you're going to start off by removing your undercarrier. That just makes it easier to reach the little plastic cover, or the little plastic knob there that keeps the coolant in. So once you unscrew it, and you're just going to go counterclockwise here just to remove the little cover or the little cap. Once you remove it, you'll get all your nice juices coming out. And I was trying not to make a mess, but it's splattering everywhere, as you can see. So food for thought. Try to come up with something that doesn't make maybe a little bit less mess than what I'm making here. But as that's draining, while that's draining, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the battery and the air intake box here. And to do that, here you got your normal little caps here. Then you got your battery, the bolt here, so you can remove your battery, unbolt your positive, negative, and then once we get this stuff out, I'll go ahead and show you where the bolts for your intake box is at. Alright, so once we get the battery out, positive, negative out of the battery, we're gonna go ahead and take out the box, the air box here. Got one connector here that's acting a little hard. Get that right now. But you pretty much just have one bolt here, one bolt here. The one on the back is pretty much just like a pushes down into a rubber holding place that pretty much holds the whole box into place. So let's go ahead and take those off. Okay, so here's your Phillips to go ahead and loosen the bracket here for the intake hose. And this is the holder spot that I was telling you about, that just pretty much holds the box into place. So once you get the two bolts out, just start with wiggling it out of the housing, pull it up, and the whole box just comes off. And here's your connector that you'll remove. And once you get that out the way, this is the thermostat housing that we have to replace. That's leaking, and it's leaking from the bottom area down here. It's leaking from down there. So we're gonna just start by removing the hoses, both your inlet thermostat hose, and we'll get this out the way, and then we'll start removing the other lines on the back, and then I'm bolting the whole piece together. And here's the new thermostat housing that we're replacing. It's a Dorman. There's your part number. And so the part that's leaking is actually this piece here. So this is the seal that must have just given out, and so it started leaking little by little, making a mess down towards like the transmission area, and it'll start leaking and leaving spots on the floor. And so we definitely want to get this replaced. As it gets hotter, the pressure is going to rise, and eventually just completely make a mess and start leaking out. So we'll work our way towards getting everything just replaced, hoses unbolted, removed, and then we'll bolt this one back in. All right, so I finished taking out the old thermostat housing, and I'll show you guys a couple things to keep in mind with the housing once you remove it. But you get a view of the three bolts and nuts. So nuts, nut, and then the bolt that goes in is here. The back ones are right over there, and so you have a bolt, and then a two nuts, and then one bolt. And so that's something to keep in mind when you're doing it. When you're removing the old housing, it will have two nuts and then one bolt. So not all are nuts. And then you have all your hoses that you're removing. So here comes the things to keep in mind. This is actually the replacement, and this is exactly in this position. So this is exactly how it goes. These two here are for the electrical wires to bolt down to, but as you can see, these were super brittle. I just touched them and kind of moved it a little bit, and they completely snapped off the original housing. I'll put the bolts back on, but just something to keep in mind. Maybe when you're doing it, don't make sure you unbolt the electrical housing here from the thermostat housing before you start moving it. The heat, all that just makes plastic parts really brittle. Now here's an important thing. These three parts here come off from the old housing and have to be put on the new housing, and these are the ones with these little C clamps. So you have one here, two, and then third is your thermostat sensor, temperature sensor. At least that's what it looks like. You remove the little C clamps and then you pull it out. The sensor was the easiest one to pull out. These two here were pretty much kind of just stuck on there. As the coolant dries up, it turns into like this crusty, crusty coolant, and just gets stuck into other pieces together. These were really hard to come off. I had to pry them out with the pliers, and you can see, I mean, there's some scrape here on the other one as well. Part of the little fin here broke off. I sprayed it with some PB Blaster on the sides, so on the sides, on the top of the old housing, and then just little by little kept wiggling up, down, up, down. Right. Now that I pulled them out, I pulled them straight back in. I put the C clamps and those there back in there again. The other O-ring, the other O-ring that you might want to replace is the O-ring that goes here in this tube, and that actually stayed on the existing tube here. So you see that O-ring. I don't have it. I didn't get it, so I'm just gonna put it back together with that O-ring. But for you guys that want to tackle this, I guess that's one that I'd encourage you to also replace. Now that you're in here, everything's apart, make sure you do that. Now, as far as getting everything disconnected and out, it's just the hardest part is just accessing the nuts and the bolts. They're pretty tough as far as accessing them, because the housing is in the way. Some of these hoses are in the way. So that's pretty much the hardest part, that, in my opinion. But you know, with some time, some patience, you'll be able to get them. And so at this point, I'm going to put the new housing back on. Once I bolt it back on, that'll be my number one thing to do, bolt it back on, and then I'll worry about connecting the hoses. All right, I put everything back together. Hoses are back connected again. Sensor as well, so don't forget the sensor. Another quick tip: these other two lines that are in the bottom, those two there, right in the middle, they're not part of the thermostat housing. However, they get in the way of that last bolt that's in the bottom. And so if you go ahead and remove the bolt that's holding those two lines, you can go ahead and move them out the way and easily access that other last bolt for the housing. So yeah, other than that, careful when you're tightening the bolts. Some of these plastic pieces, housing pieces, because they've been heated, cooled through I don't know how many years, they become brittle. So don't over tighten them. Just give it a good snug fit. The gasket does pretty much the rest of the work after that. So the mess that you've made, wash it off, and go ahead and fill it up. I don't know exactly how much I'll be using. I will go ahead and get a couple gallons and then fill it up. All right, guys, well, thanks for watching. Thanks. Go ahead and like, share, subscribe. Let me know your experiences, and then if I have any other things I can let you guys know, I will follow up. Other than that, thanks.